Hello, my name is Mike Parietti. I'm running for County Legislature in District 1. District 1 is the district that runs up the northwestern portion of Rockland County. It's the largest district by geography, but it's a little strange that it includes Stony Point, a little bit of Haverstraw, but it also snakes down through the mountains and includes Sloatsburg and parts of western Ramapo. I'm from Ramapo. I was born and raised here. I went to Suffern High School. From there, I went on to the Military Academy at West Point, and then served my commitment in Fort Benning, Georgia, in the 10th Mountain Infantry Division. Following that, I had a career in the biotechnology industry. I have a master's of biotechnology from Penn State. However, I returned to Ramapo in 2003, and I quickly found that things were moving in the wrong direction. So I got involved to help found a group called Preserve Ramapo. I've been involved with them continuously for 16 plus years. We've been fighting corruption, we've been fighting overdevelopment, we've been fighting discrimination, and I've been involved in any number of different initiatives to try and bring good government to the town of Ramapo. However, now I want to bring this fight to the county legislature. Because if we don't get control of the legislature this time around, the Ramapo block is going to gerrymander the district boundaries throughout Rockland County so that they have complete control of the legislature. I'm running on the SAM party line, it's row H. I'm running with a diverse slate of candidates countywide. We've got Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, all of whom have committed to voting in a bipartisan coalition to get control of the redistricting process to ensure that it is done fairly and equitably for all communities of interest. So that is my primary motivation for running for legislature. If you take a look at the current map, this is the map that was drawn after the 2010 census. It's blatantly obvious that it was gerrymandered to inflate the power of the block vote and dilute the voting power of the communities of interest surrounding the block vote. In the Hillcrest and Spring Valley area, this is an area of Rockland County that is predominantly populated by people of color. Well, if you look in this area in here, and roughly in here, it was carved into, that area of people of color was cut into 3 sections. And each one of those sections was then connected to a different population center so that each one of those sections would be dominated by the other population center, and people of color would not be able to decide for themselves who they wanted to represent them in the county legislature. And you can see it in District 13. This is the African American, Haitian, Latino area over here. It's connected back to parts of Muncie on both ends, which then dominate that subsection of the African American, Haitian, Latino vote. And it's the same essential configuration of District 8, same thing. People of color over here, snakes back to a highly densely populated area of Muncie. And the other portion over here in Hillcrest was just chopped off and connected to this other district that snakes into parts of Clarkson and other parts of Ramapo. So people of color really don't have a fair share of representation in the county legislature as it is currently configured. Same is true of Western Ramapo. Look at this. This is the village of Suffern. It's been cut in half and then connected to a butt section of Montebello. It was cut off the main portion of Montebello, and it snakes back to these densely populated areas of Muncie, so that this section of Montebello and Suffern really doesn't have their fair share of representation either. If you look up here at District 4, it's even more remarkable. We got the village of New Square here, and it is connected to this gigantic portion of western Ramapo that runs all the way to the border of Harriman State Park. So that ensures that the people in this section, this is a much more sparsely populated area than New Square. This population down here dominates this entire geography, so they really don't have their fair share of representation in the legislature either. So, if we get control of the redistricting process, we will ensure that it is done fairly and equitably for all communities of interest. And so what you do is you take these areas in this densely populated area of Muncie, and you would unite them in their own districts. When you redistrict, you're supposed to unite communities of interest so that those communities can then decide for themselves how they would want to be represented. So what we would do, we would ensure that the African American or areas of Rockland County, or the areas of Rockland County that are populated predominantly by people of color, would be put united in 2 or 3 districts where they would decide for themselves who they want to represent them in the Rockland County Legislature. And that would be true of the rest of Rockland County as well. All these different areas would then have districts drawn that would allow them to decide for themselves who they want to represent them. So that's one of the primary motivations I have for running for Rockland County Legislature. As I said, I'm running with a diverse coalition of people on the same party line, row H. We've all committed to vote together in a coalition to get control of the redistricting process and ensure that it is done fairly and equitably for all communities of interest. So I hope you'll consider voting for me on row H. Thank you very much.